Excuse me. Pardon me.
Hey, sit down. I want to say the answer to this question is yes, but it isn't really. I see too many indie movies. I just don't see a lot of sequels, but the fact that things are original generally doesn't impact whether or not I'm going to see something. I want to think that I would rather see something new than part of an established franchise, but, I'd rather see a good sequel than a terrible original movie, and I'm not going to give the original movie a pass and give it my money when I could be better spent on a known property. That being said, all other things being equal, I do want to reward fresh ideas, especially since there aren't a ton of those nowadays, but I'm not going to waste my money just because I want that to happen.
I would say overwhelmingly yes. And this kind of goes back to the discussion that Hubert and I had 2 weeks ago about formulaic storytelling. And there are a lot of movies right now that are based on other properties. There are comic book movies, there are sequels, there are not so many remade TV shows as there used to be, but there's still some of that going on. And the reason why a lot of that is happening is because Hollywood is afraid to take risks. They don't want to take a risk on sinking all kinds of money into a property that is going to lose them money. Obviously, any business wants to be successful and any business wants to make a profit. And so a lot of the studios think that by making movies that are based on things people already know, there will be a built-in audience and the risk will be lower. And that's why I kind of try to vote with my wallet. I like to see original stories. I like to be surprised by films. I don't necessarily always like to know what to expect when I go in. Sometimes I know what I'm getting. Other times I want something interesting and original. And the best way that we as movie lovers and we as movie goers can ensure that original stories are getting told is to reward original stories with dollars. Money talks in any business, and Hollywood is no different. So if those movies that are telling original stories start to pick up the pace and start to close the gap a little bit between the based on comic book, blockbuster type tentpole things, then that's really the only way we're going to ever get original storytelling, is if it makes money. So I tend to throw my dollars down and take a risk a lot more often than a lot of people would, but it's because I really do value originality.
I can't say I make an effort since I see most movies, but when an original film comes out with an original idea, I make an effort to go see it. I don't think I'd make an extraordinary effort to go see it. Plus, I get just as excited about sequels as the next guy. So it's not like I'm making an effort to give original films more than I give sequels that I want to see. So I don't give them a leg up, but I treat them equally.
Yeah, I guess in general I am more inclined to seek out original ideas and original films, but I think that's something that needs to be qualified, because a movie isn't automatically unoriginal or not creative and unique if it's an adaptation, a remake, or a sequel. There are a lot of great adaptations, remakes, and sequels that are full of inventiveness. And conversely, an original film, an original concept may be just as cliched, boring, and formulaic as a bad remake, adaptation, or sequel. I'm going to be seeing Elysium pretty soon. Before I review the art of the film, I really want to see the movie and see how these design elements, which look great, play out in the movie. From indications from friends, Elysium is actually just a really sort of over-the-top remake of District 9, playing with the same dynamics of class structure, privilege, the haves and have-nots, which is unfortunate. I'll see for myself eventually. My favorite movie of the year, or at least one of them, is a sequel, Before Midnight. That's the third movie in the Before series, but there's something so passionate and so unique and original in the way that Richard Linklater, Julie Delpy, and Ethan Hawke address ideas about love and relationships. So I don't think you can automatically say original equals originality. I think about some of my favorite movies. John Carpenter's The Thing, which is a reinterpretation of the Howard Hawks movie and a short story, or David Cronenberg's The Fly, which is a reinterpretation of the 50s film and a short story. Both of those movies are taking a setup and using it to go in their own directions that are so uniquely original to the filmmaker and their voice. So I think when I think about originality, what I'm looking for is not necessarily just an original idea, but a spirit of originality, something that's inventive and unique that only someone who really believes in something they're doing can pull off. So I think I seek out original approaches and original sense rather than just an original idea or plot.